Okay, dear friends, get ready. We're starting a tad earlier today. We got some stuff to do in the morning, so we're always ready to go. Hell, I've been up since. If I told you 3 o'clock, would you believe me? I'm up reading. I'm doing all this stuff. It's my usual. It's my usual thing. I'm excited. Are you excited? Is that your ructate? Are you excited? I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for so many reasons. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited is because of the fact that the Republicans still don't know what to do. And everybody is just going nuts. And our side is losing it. I'm thinking, have you never done an election before? No. I can't watch Fox News. I reposted one picture of Hannity with Ari Fleischer, and they're just telling each other like, this is Kamala's stupid, right? Oh, she's stupid, right? Right, Ari? Oh, absolutely, Sean. We're right, right? Oh, absolutely. She's not going to win. No, no. Why? Well, because we know she's lying, and we know this. This is the mentality. Now, no, you want to watch that? Go ahead. If you want to find out what's really going on, you're in the right place because that's what this is about. I love the politics. This is a game. And nothing that anybody is saying is in any way even remotely um, worthy of note. How's that for a statement? But anyway, let's relax, take it easy, take a deep breath. We have a long way to go and a short time to get there. We're eastbound. Just watch old bandit run. Okay, my friends, ready? Here we go. But first, before we begin, as always, a very critical word from our very critical sponsor. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it's natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. But there's one asset that stands the test of time: gold. You know, for centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals to help protect your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up your gold IRA has never been easier with Noble Gold Investments' streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, don't let election volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins, or, I love this one, or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to LionelNationGold.com now. That's LionelNationGold.com. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. And remember about that, life is like that. There's no guarantee of any kind, none whatsoever. Now, my friends, in the event, in the rarest of chances that maybe you just happen to come upon us this morning and you're saying, who is this? Who is this Uncle Letty guy? And what's his position? Is he first of all, I am a Trump supporter. You got my Trump. This is my Trump silver dollar. Listen to this sound. Listen to this. It's not even a silver dollar. It's an ounce of. I love that sound. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I mean, there's no way around this. There's no way. There is no way any rational person could even remotely think about voting or supporting anything involving Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party, at all. Nothing. If you do, then you are truly looking at this as kind of like an America's Got Talent kind of a thing, where you really don't understand what's at stake here. That's the issue. You don't really understand how things are that scary. And I can't say this enough, my friends. I cannot say this enough. We are in the fight of our life. You hear what I'm saying? We are in the fight of our life. This is not just about, Kamala and her laugh. And people just I don't know what it is. I think it's just the maybe the results of this social media, but people think that it's enough just to make fun of somebody. Now, believe it or not, we have had impersonators and impressionists in today's well before. My God, uh, David Fry, and oh my God, there was this. It goes back forever, and people have found, and Thomas Nast, and there have been all kinds of Von Meter, who did, the first family, and oh my God, Von Meter, by the way, the first noted Kennedy impersonator whose career was obviously shattered. I mean, who could possibly do that again? So anyway, so this is nothing new. The idea that we've had people kind of make fun of others is no big deal. It's at a different level now by virtue of social media. And to many people, they're thinking, well, I'm new to this, but a little bit of historical reference might behoove many of you. This is nothing new. Nothing. But the difference was, in the old days, it was more than just people making fun. As Warren Ocasio, Pilgrim Media, and Dysfunctional G, our new members will know, and welcome friends and family alike. Okay. First and foremost, everybody knows this has been in the offing for a long time. You don't just spring this. There are some things I can't figure out. Why didn't Joe go along with this? Why? There is this preposterous story in the New York Post about how they went to him and physically, they said physically threatened, threatened to physically remove him regarding the 25th Amendment. Have you read the 25th Amendment? It's everybody right now is the new now, the thing is, it's a coup. It's a palace coup. We've been using that term since Nixon. They're catching up. A lot of these folks are catching up. There's also this new group of people. And with all due respect, I love them. They're a new brand of social media firebrands, and they always have to up the ante. They always have to up the ante. And they're called conspiracy theorists for no particular reason, but they say things that really aren't based in fact, but just kind of what they think. And the new one is that Joe Biden, again, this is unconfirmed. People are saying Joe Biden is dead, that he's in a hospice, or he's dead, or both. That yesterday's meeting was AI or recorded. It didn't occur. There is no Joe Biden. He's not here. They offed him. He's on an island. He's lobotomized. And each one is baseless. Now, it could be. I never thought opinions matter. No, what? Could be. But you have got to ask yourself, do you really like this? That turns me off immediately. That sounds like nuts. And I hate that. Me, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, can you give me a reason? Well, I know somebody who was actually at a hospice center who looked in and took a picture of Joe, and that's him. That might be good. But just because somebody says, I've got to up the ante, I've got to do this. There are certain things I just don't understand. But that's me. So I'm a kind of a unique person. I realize I don't fit in. How anybody can listen to 1 second of Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk talk about anything. Elon maybe, but Jordan, I don't get it. It's me. I'm a different person. I don't get it. I admit it. I plead guilty. I plead guilty. I plead guilty. I don't understand. I don't know why this is even interesting to anybody, but that's me. Call me wacky. Call me wacky. Okay. Next, the bigger issues that we have to deal with is what is happening right now. Now, let me tell you what I always say, and I preface this with the following. Not that this has happened, but that I wouldn't be surprised if. Now, you realize in today's world of social media, you are not going to do well if you say, this could be, for example, I read somebody posted something about it's the club of 300, and they listed all these people who were calling the shots. And it sounds good. Club of Rome, Club of 300. Whenever you give a name, because people love to know specifics of who's who. YouTube Sook says, if he's in Delaware, where's the studio they had during the 2020 thing in his basement? Could be. Let me ask you something. Does it, at this point, what is the issue here? What is the issue? Is it not, where is Joe Biden? Where is the president? Who is running the show? Have there been issues, or have there been continuity issues or documents signed? I saw Rob Schneider, or Snyder's not. He's opining. He's come a long way. He's opining that there's already been some kind of a transference of power. I don't know. I'd like to find out what's happening right now. And I want to know something about what is going on. Now, let's cut to the chase. Here's what I say. Mr. President, this should not probably, it's Trump, President Trump. This should not surprise you. Number one, you should have been all over social media and all over everything yesterday during her big meeting in Delaware. Where were you? Were you playing golf? You better not be playing golf. Don't tell me you're playing golf. Don't let me know you're playing golf. You have got to, and I don't know why, but if you don't do this, I don't know what. You've got to have a studio, either in Mar-a-Lago or whatever, that you can go to anytime, and you've got to crank out stuff. I don't care if it's a minute. At the very moment she's doing that, you should have been live on X, live on this, live on Truth Social, live. You should have been live. Steal the thunder. Rule number one, where are you? J.D. Vance is good, but J.D. Vance, nobody cares about J.D. Vance. I hate to say it. Please don't take this the wrong way. Nobody cares. Deb Kemp says, should Joe Biden be signing anything anyway, considering his cognitive condition? Yes, because what they're doing is they're not saying, Deb, and that's a very good point. He's how do I say this? The Democrats have never said he is cognitively unable to do the job. They have never said that. Never. This is important. This is what is so critical. They have never said that, ever. Nobody's saying it. Republicans are saying it. They're not saying this. This is not it. That's very critical. It's a very, very important point. So yours is a very good question. Let me give you an example why that's true. In DUI cases, sometimes when people leave their cars on the side of the road, they have to sign a release, and the release is something that it absolves and holds harmless whatever the jurisdiction is, the city, the county, whatever it is, for arresting the person. And if he signs a waiver and he said, just leave my car by the side of the road and whatever happens to it, okay, fine. So what they always used to say is, how can you arrest somebody for being drunk and then have them execute a legal document involving the waiver of responsibility? Isn't that inconsistent? This document is no good if he's drunk. And you say he's sober enough to sign the document, but he's not sober enough to drive. So anyway, it's one of those things where you're saying, well, if he's incompetent, how is he signing it? Everybody is jumping on this. Hey, that's not his signature. Move on. It's okay. Is Joe saying that's not my signature? Is Jill saying that's not my signature? Is anybody objecting to it? No. Then don't worry about it. Do you ever sign legal documents? Sometimes you put solidus, S, solidus, slash S. That's for a signature. Sometimes secretaries can say signed in his absence to prevent delay or something like that. There's always ways of that's not even an issue. That's not even his stationery. He's done this before. And then once it starts, people say, aha, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So what? Nobody's objecting. Now, if Joe said, wait a minute, I didn't sign that, that would be interesting. But he's not. So even if he didn't sign it, he's ratifying it. He's ratifying it. He's endorsing it. He's saying, okay, that's fine. That's those are my thoughts. Pro forma, I understand it. That's no big deal. It's also no big deal that Trump wrote a check to Kamala. It's like, are you kidding? Do you know how many people write checks to? Oh my God. Are you seriously? Have you ever been to, I guess nobody's been in politics before, been involved in a race? Okay. So rule number 1, Mr. President, where were you yesterday? Where were you? You should have been on live at that moment. Steal her thunder. Where were you? Strike 1. That is unconscionable. That is unforgivable. That is political negligence. Do you hear what I'm saying? Political negligence. Where were you? Okay? Where were you? Every time Kamala does something, you've got to be there. You've got to own this. Deb Kemp says, point is they think we're stupid. No, not that they think we're stupid. They just don't. Well, they do think you're stupid. You're right about that. But it's not even important. It's just, yeah, but it's not important. Deb, the Democrats aren't complaining. They're the ones who, not technically speaking, all he's saying is I'm not going to be the nominee. He didn't say, I'm not going to be the president. He said, I'm not going to run for re-election. That's a Democrat thing. What do we care? He doesn't owe us anything. He owes the party something. And the party is not objecting. Remember, Joe Biden did not step down from being president. He stepped down from being the nominee or the presumptive nominee. He will step down. Mr. President Trump, announce it now. Rule number 2, steal their thunder in terms of what they're going to do. Tell them how many, when, Joe is going, make it sound like we know the script. Joe is going to step down. Make it sound. You've got to understand, Mr. President, and this is to you, President Trump, there are people here who are children. They don't know anything. We know this. We know this has been in the offing for I don't know how long. You've got to tell them specifically, Joe is going to step down under the 25th Amendment, not the forced out amendment, but under this Section 1, when a president resigns from office, the vice president, this is called the Tyler precedent from John Tyler, he takes over. Now, let me explain a couple of things here. They keep talking about, well, we threatened him with the 25th Amendment. Really? Oh, yeah, we threatened him with the 25th Amendment. I hope you're following me on X. Are you doing that? Because I'm putting out some damn good stuff. And unlike most of these other morons, I don't want to do something just because you want to hear it. Like, oh, he's in a coma. He's in a nursing home. Why are people saying that? Because it sounds good. Because people want to hear things that, I guess, here's the link, by the way. So you really should. I mean, I don't know how to say this, but it's Lionel Media on X. It's just simple. But these people love to do it. And I'm not going to mention, but there's a couple of them who are clowns. They will say anything. Oh, it's true. No, President Trump, he's in us. He's dead. He's not alive. Where did you get that from? Oh, I don't know. It's obvious. I've been through this with 9/11. I've been through this with been through this with Watergate, been through this with Vietnam. You got these people who confuse fantasy and what they want with the real thing. I'm not going to tell you something that I want to be. I wouldn't be surprised. But we just don't know. I'm kind of old-fashioned. Maybe it's a lawyer in me. I love this thing called evidence. Call me wacky, but I'm into this thing called evidence. Now, I want you to hear a couple of things here. This is the most important. This is really, really, really good stuff. Oh, here we go. Here this Representative Burchett calls Harris a DEI hire. See, this is stupid. This is stupid. They don't know what they're doing. You don't know. You're playing into their hands because they're going to say, oh, I see. So when a proud black woman comes forward, of course, she's a DEI hire, right? Is that the way it's going to be? And it's stupid. And they don't care because all they want to do is they want to say stuff. Now, let me explain it to you. 25th Amendment, 1965, Senator Birch Bayh was instrumental in advocating for this 25th Amendment. And he said in February 1965 that Section 4, which is the forcible, this is when they force you out, it was crafted to address situations where there is, now listen to me carefully, quote, an impairment of the president's faculties, listen carefully, meaning that he is unable either to make or communicate his decisions as to his own competency to exercise or execute powers and duties of his office. So Joe, even as enfeebled as he appears, may not even qualify at this point for implementation of his extraction because he is not unable either to make or communicate his decisions. They're thinking coma. This is what the 25th Amendment is. It doesn't mean that Joe's a little slow. He can't remember his words. None of that. This is the part that I don't. This is what you got to remember. Now, another author of the 25th Amendment, this is a fellow named Richard Poff, a representative. He highlighted two scenarios in April of 1965 where Section 4 might be invoked. Number one, the first scenario involved the situation where the president, due to a physical ailment or some sudden accident, is rendered unconscious or paralyzed and therefore incapable of making or communicating the decision to relinquish the powers of the office. The second scenario pertains to instances where a president, due to mental debility, is unable or unwilling to make any rational decisions. Joe Biden is nowhere near that. I'm sorry. He may mumble. He may be a little slow. He's nowhere near that. None. He may be slow in the uptake. That's not what we want. Oh, no, no, no. Now, hear me out in a moment. And regardless of the circumstances necessitating the implementation, the invocation of the 25th Amendment, Congress established these really stringent criteria for its application. Once the vice president and either the cabinet or a body approved agree to invoke the amendment, the vice president is permitted to immediately, quote, assume the powers and duties of the office as acting president. And the president may then notify Congress that no ability exists, I'm okay, and thereby resume the powers and duties unless the vice president and the cabinet and the body constituted by Congress jointly object. And the process makes impeachment look like a walk in the park. So let me say this again to all of the constitutional scholars. The 25th Amendment was not for a guy who's slow or who mumbles or might have just, whatever. Always says, Lionel, do you stream on Rumble? I do not. And it's, from what I'm understanding, it's a little bit more complicated. And frankly, no. This is as good as it gets. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Now, let me explain to this. Do you understand this? You understand? Let's go back to square one again. I know all these constitutional scholars say, well, he's obviously with the 25th Amendment. No. Section 4, where you force somebody out. Let me ask you something. Do you know what would happen if it was easy just to say, I think he's acting a little old? Why? Well, you know. The drafters of the Constitution were very, very worried, and they concern themselves with the notion of how do I say this? They concern themselves with the notion of of somebody coming along and through a coup, actually, just having somebody supplanted. That's why they wanted a mandate. That's why these Democrats are so stupid. They wanted a mandate that you have to impeach a president first when you charge him with some kind of an offense. That the idea that you can just arrest a president, just arrest him, and then remove him from office, not because we don't like him politically, but because he committed an offense. No, they knew this. They knew that presidents could be sued, arrested, they could be declared incompetent, crazy. That's why they made it very difficult. So let me say something. In as much as you might think, and I might think, that Joe Biden is so gone that he cannot be president, he is not at that 25th Amendment level yet. Sorry, he ain't there yet. Lisa PM says, if they were to invoke 25th Amendment, how long would it take to complete the process? Would Biden have a chance to object? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to read through it again, but it's just not like, okay, here we are. Biden, you're out. Biden can then say, oh, no, I'm fine. So it's like they make the allegation, Biden contested, and then you got to have a 2/3 of the vote in the House and the Senate to get rid of him. This makes impeachment look like nothing. Nothing. Remember, they didn't want this. They don't want this. The drafters said, unless he's in a coma, you're stuck with him. We want you to enjoy this thing called the electoral process. That's what we want you to do. And unless people understand that, we're wasting our time. So let's just move that out of the way. Could this have been a recording yesterday? Sure. Could this have been some AI thing? Yeah. Okay. And your point is what? Prove it. Could be. Where's Jill? I mean, we can play all these games. Crimson says Trump 2024. Absolutely. So listen, let's go to this one. Number one, remember, Mr. President, always steal their thunder. You knew they were going to have. You knew she was going into Delaware. You knew this. You should have been doing a press conference or something live and say something that throws her off, throws a wrench, kills the momentum, did something that, I'll get to in a moment. You should have done that. This was negligent. Not J.D. Vance, you. It takes nothing. A minute, 2 minutes. Always have your little Mar-a-Lago studio. Sit there and say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about something which is very important. Where is Joe Biden? Right now, you have a leader, as we speak, of Israel. Whether you like Bibi, whether you are Palestinian, river to the sea, whatever the hell it is, you've got a leader of the world showing up and nobody's there to even acknowledge him. Nobody. Is anybody in charge here? This has nothing to do with it. He should have said that right then. And instead, Kamala Harris, and say her name as little as possible. I'll get to that in a moment. Kamala Harris is talking to campaign workers. What about the running of the country? Who's in charge here? Politics today is unreal. Are you not entertained? Absolutely. But too legit. I know it sounds crazy, but it's been like this since day one. You had people on the floor of the House clubbering. One was it a senator or a House member, congressman, beating somebody with a cane? And are you kidding me? You've got Warren Harding. Warren Harding probably was poisoned by his wife, who had illegitimate kids, and he lost to China in a poker game. And this is, if you don't know history, people think it's never been this worse. Joe Biden's the worst president. No, he's not. Franklin Pierce, the alcoholic? What are you talking about? Ryan says, why are the Dems so jubilant for Kamala when she couldn't handle Gabbard in the 2020 primary? Do you really want, are you answering that rhetorically? Do you really want me to answer that? Do you want me to answer that question, or is this a rhetorical question? Seriously, I'm going to answer this as though you really asked that, because there's no way, Ryan, this is, but I'm going to answer the question because nobody remembers 2020. They don't even know who Tulsi Gabbard was. It's just 4 years ago. What are you talking about? I love you, man. I'm not coming down on you. It's a good question, but do you think the Democrats remember anything about what? Do you think they care about Iowa? Do you think they know that Tulsi couldn't pull 2%? No. Well, as though that's it. Hold it. Stop it. What do you mean? Forget it. What do you mean? Because Tulsi Gabbard kicked her ass. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Sorry. Doesn't matter. Ryan, what do you do when people say, what's the matter with you? Don't you understand President Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies? He's a convicted felon. Don't you understand this? Did you hear what Kamala said? And his charities and Trump University and all this stuff? He's a fraud and he's this. Don't you understand that? How can you talk? How can you put up with that? Don't you understand? I don't care. You don't care either, do you? I don't care. Don't you understand he was convicted of 34? Don't you understand he was responsible for January the 6th? Don't you? I don't think he would. Doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother you. Be honest. It doesn't bother you. If you found out that President Trump was involved in the disappearance of 9 nurses in Chicago in the 60s, a la Richard Speck, what would you say? Well, what are you going to do? We don't care. Let me see if I can say this to you, okay? President Trump, that great man, is not the best candidate, the better candidate. He's the only candidate. He's it. The patient, the country has cancer. He's chemotherapy. The patient is going to die. This stuff, this either tamoxifen or whatever you want to call it, it will kill you. In any other time, if things are going well, Trump might not be the best person at all to get anywhere near. Rudy Giuliani used to be like that. Rudy Giuliani was great. Rudy Giuliani was the best during 9/11. When it hit the fan, the woozy, by the way, which is a great fan. Anyway, when it hit the fan, he was great. So just understand this. Trump is not perfect. Trump is not the greatest. Trump is not any. He's the only. He's the greatest president in my lifetime. And then again, some people can say, well, that may not be saying a whole hell of a lot. Either way, I don't care about that. So anyway, back to what I'm saying. Rule number 1, you were remiss. Why weren't you immediately doing live? Go live on X, YouTube. Forget this. If you want to do social, Trump, Truth Social, fine, because you're whatever. But you got to go right when she's on. All of a sudden, people, hey, Trump's on. Why that rat preempting? Yep. He should have been there right off the bat. They're telling you. That's number 1. Number 2, and write this down. This may be something which is really, really going to be. You may not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. Use creative references of the facts. For example, say something that throws them off. Say something that throws them off, that keeps them off message. What? Have a bunch of black men lined up, said, because of Kamala Harris, I did 25 years over I had a drug problem. And instead of Kamala Harris advocating for me to handle the situation as a medical problem, like we do today, Kamala Harris threw me in prison for what could have been the rest of my life. And thank God for clemency later on. And she's proud of that. She's proud of that. While at the same time appearing on this morning show talking about smoking weed that really pissed off her father because they were tired of, look, this people think that, oh, ganja, hey man, you know, Bob Marley, ganja. No, 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 no. It has been a disaster. There are people in Jamaica who said, this is the worst. We're not better off because of ganja, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, 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 no. And she's highlighting it, perpetuating this dreadlocked Rastaman. That's a part of Jamaica, but that's not it. And her father said that. So at the same time, here she is, this hypocrite, extolling the virtue of drugs and this and that, while at the same time throwing black men into prison. Now, what would that have done? It would have thrown her off. They say, oh, Jesus, we got to answer that. Kamala, what? Did you know this? Well, yeah, but we'll answer it. So she stops what she's doing, and now she has to answer this. And then go back and say, and if you want to, go back every single thing she has done. So just go back. Just go back. Okay? Just go back. That's number one. I would also do something. Remember Three Dog Night? I think it was Hoyt. Who wrote I think it was Hoyt Axton who wrote Never Been to Spain. I think it was Hoyt Axton. Three Dog nominated. Yeah, Hoyt Axton. Well, I never been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. Well, hers should be, well, I never been to Europe. When Lester Holt said, you said you went to the border. Did you go to the border or not? Well, I went to Guatemala. Did you go to the border? Well, I've never been to Europe either. Well, I never been. Right off the bat, she lied about that. She lied. She lied about a simple question. She had the job. She was, ladies and gentlemen, she was appointed border czar. And where would you go? Let me ask you something. If I appointed you border czar, where would you go? Oh, I don't know. The border. Right. She didn't. And she never went to Europe. Throw that out. Immediately. Maybe not from Trump, but at the same time. Make her stop and answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Throw her off. And you didn't hear this from me, maybe sometimes be facile with the facts. Who is to say what exactly is the truth? Who is to say what exactly is the truth? Okay? Who? So you've got to always call her, always make her defend herself. She doesn't know. Remember, Kamala does not know what she's doing. She's very good. She read a great prompter, but she knows nothing. She's not ready for this. So that's why you got to challenge her. You got to start doing it now. And you also have to do it. You have to conflate her with, how do I say this? You have to conflate this with her with Democrats. Now, third point, if it doesn't affect either a Democratic voter or a undecided voter, I don't care about it. Don't bring up a, how do I say this? Don't bring up a Charlie Kirk fact or something. I'm just giving you an idea. That only means something. That's kind of like the Sean Hannity crew. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, the signature was, that doesn't matter. That's not what I want to go after. That's one of those, that's a Laura Ingraham fact. Oh, that's good. No, it's not good. Nobody cares about that. Go after who are her people? Who is going to be here? Women, black folks, and Democrats, but women, and right now, as we speak, she's got all the delegates. She's got Hollywood raring to go. And let me tell you something. People, young people, women, Black Americans, Latino, I don't know, but they love this. Are you listening to me? Don't listen to Ari Fleischer, okay? That's great. That is so, are you kidding? Ari Fleischer? What is this? Maybe who next? Karl Rove? Is he going to lend something? He's going to help. This means nothing. This is preaching to the choir. Who are the people who like her? Hollywood. Interesting, Hollywood. So you want to do two things. One of two things. Number one, say something that really makes people say, oh, I didn't know that. The group, not Ari Fleischer, not somebody on the five or whatever, but you want somebody who is a Democratic woman, Democratic young person, whatever, who says, oh, I didn't know that about her. Oh, remember, that changes it. That's what you want ideally. Whether it does or not is a different story. And also, you also want to make sure that she is attributed to as many things as possible that aren't good. For example, the reason why, and you can say, this is Kensington, this is really Philadelphia. Kensington is the worst. Now, this new mayor is doing the best she can. But Kensington was the area that was from Rocky. Remember, who was somebody today who compared himself to Rocky, and Rocky lost in the first match. Remember that? They got the story wrong. In any event, look at this. Who is responsible for this? Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. See how we do this? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party turned their back and immediately allowed the borders to allow drugs in, fentanyl, opioids. Kamala Harris destroyed this. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party did this. This was a once vibrant city, and go through it. Guess what city this is? This is Los Angeles. Over here is Beverly Hills. Over here is this. Who is responsible? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. While Kamala Harris is dancing and laughing. Mock her on that. She's very sensitive about that. Don't kid yourself. She knows she's sensitive. She even came up with that stupid experience. Oh, in my family, we laugh. No. We're not talking about laughing. You laugh like a fool. This is like a hyena. This isn't laughing. She's sensitive about that because she knows she's covering up. She knows. And you can run all the reels you want. The people that remember, who are the people? Black voters, women, young people, and the Hollywood types. But go back. Hey, Hollywood, look at you. This is your Los Angeles. Who do you think is responsible for that? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party, because they destroyed the borders. Where did all this stuff come in? Fentanyl. Where? From China, from whatever. Go down the list. Who did this? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Who did this? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. The destruction of nobody likes puberty blocking and none of that stuff. Gender reassignment, nobody likes it. Who's responsible for that? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Do you hear what Elon Musk said about his son? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Is this the America you want? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. And you can bring forth, here's one for you. The majority of people who have been lost. Remember, there's three groups of people. The group that nobody talks about are gay people. Plain old gay and lesbians. What about us? They have been completely bulldozed by trans. There's a group of disgruntled erstwhile Democrats who say, woman, what about us? What is this LGBT? I'm not T. I am a gay man, a gay woman, a lesbian man who identifies with my gender. I've been completely pushed out. Who did that? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party was written, the script, by someone else somewhere else. We don't know who these people are, but it certainly isn't rational thinking. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. When China flew weather balloons over, who was responsible for this reaction? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. During ransomware, who was it? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. We just had cyber strike or whatever it's called, CrowdStrike. Kamala Harris's. Is there an infrastructure? No. Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party. And remember, what is going to go right now? For example, you're asking the question, young people, what has this? How do you feel right now? What are you excited about? Tell me about your future. Now, let me also, this is really low, but I'm going to do it. It's like you're in a wrestling match and somebody says, listen, I'm going to tell you something. What? He's recovering from a shoulder injury. You don't know this, but I know this. Go for the shoulder. Okay. So I'm gonna dig an elbow into his shoulder and make the I'll get a submission from something that I only because I knew this. Now, right now, there are kids who are absolutely, completely distraught. You cannot believe the level of mental health issues, feelings of, it's horrible. Horrible. And you can ask somebody, hey, young people, how do you feel today? What's your future like? Do you have student loan debt? Forget this permission. You do, because that's going to be unconstitutional. They threw a bone at you. They don't understand. Remember this. Remember. They don't, young people who were supposedly the ones targeted, because remember what I'm saying, if they're not going to vote for Kamala, I don't care about this. I'm not going to be going for the Laura Ingraham crowd. Nobody cares about that. They're not going to be voting for her. We know that. But I'm talking about somebody who might say, you know what, this, she's okay, this Kamala, and the black woman. Good. Let me tell you what this black woman has done in her Democratic Party. Right now, there are more kids using more anxiolytics on more antidepressant medications, more suicide attempts, more hospitalizations. More, there is a real feeling among young people, more than ever, of a real feeling of fear and trepidation. You know this, bruh, literally. The number of, did you ever hear of a service animal before? No. Unless you were blind or something, but now, remember this? We're a new group of people. We're people on planes who cry and scream and yell. We're a whole different group of people. You don't understand how this thing works. We're a very scaredy cat group of people. Very sad, very frightened. How do you feel, young folks? What have you done about it? How has Kamala Harris's Democratic Party, what have they done for you? How do you feel? How do you feel in this? Look at Kensington. Look at Los Angeles. Look at Seattle. Look at Portland. Go down the list. This is because of Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. How did you feel during COVID? How did you like staying in? How did you like freaking out? How did you like sheltering in place? How did you like, do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Do I have to do this? Can I get on a bus? Can I not get on a bus? Do I have to have a vaccination? What about, do I have to get out of school? What, my parents are, my grandparents died. We can't even go to their funeral. Remember that? This is Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. They had no idea. And then when they're finally caught, and when anybody does any rational investigation into the complicity of China, what does Kamala Harris's Democratic Party do? Nothing. Now, what am I saying? I'm not saying this to the Fox News crowd. I'm talking to young people. I'm gearing it towards them, but they've got to get this. Now, somewhere along the line, maybe things are different now. We've got to see if the coast is clear. There's a whole bunch of folks out there who now are saying, now I'm talking. You're starting to hear, not so much, remember, it's not that I'm pro-Trump. It's I'm anti-Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. Kamala Harris thought that for the longest time, you young people, you could be cajoled and fooled. Here she is at the observatory talking with a bunch of, you see these kids, she's talking about space, and you're not going to believe the craters. Okay. These are actors. These are child actors. She didn't even have real people. It's a con to her. And so, again, who are these people for? Then you might want to say, well, let me tell you what happened during the Trump administration. Student loan debt, inflation. Do you know what things like a Happy Meal? This is weird. You have to talk about somebody what a McDonald's Happy Meal costs. Then it's like $18. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Gas, about this. What is it? You tap into each person. Then you go to the black community. This is a fraud. She has had absolutely no interest whatsoever in anything involving the black community, or she says it now. How does a woman take pride in incarcerating more black men and realizing that this system that was in place did more to hurt and destroy black men than anything else? That's what you have to do. And if you think she's a pushover, you're out of your mind. If you think, and this goes to the Hannitys and all these other people and who just want to sit and laugh at her, this is serious. I'm not kidding around here. This is my country and my republic. And just because we got a bunch of millionaires sitting on a couch, yucking it up, or thinking that the world is one real, like if we put enough pictures of Kamala saying stupid things, people are going to vote against her. It doesn't work like that. YouTube says you put Joe Manchin or RFK as vice president and it changes the attitude. No, it doesn't. I mean, I'm going to let you in on some YouTube, and I thank you for this. Vice president doesn't mean anything. Sorry. I hate to break it to you. JD Vance, bless your heart. He bores me. Sorry. Mike Pence, who? The only powerful vice president ever was Dick Cheney. That's the only one that really mattered, because Dick Cheney really ran the show, not anybody else. Sometimes we say things like, well, Bobby Kennedy, it's not going to make any difference. You think anybody knows who the Kennedys are? Have you seen this new one? Oh, you're going to love this one. There's a guy, Jack Schlossberg. Jack Schlossberg is Caroline Kennedy's son. And this guy is a piece of work. That's all I'm going to say. This is one of the creepiest thing where he's channeling his late uncle, John Jr. It's weird, okay? Up to and including, the shirtless photos, and he gets into these voices. And I'm going to leave it there, because what I'm hearing is a little bit more complicated. It's not just he's a quirky kind of dude, okay? The Kennedys live in a world that they don't understand does not exist. They are as relevant as the King family, as the Lennon sisters, okay, as the Osmonds. The Kennedys are over. Nobody cares about them. We live in a world now where young people don't even remember John Stewart. And you expect who? Rory Kennedy? What are you talking about? This is the thing which is the most important. So that stuff doesn't really matter. Now, Bobby Kennedy might be good in the, he does have a unique kind of a niche. Bobby Kennedy is just ideologically all over the place. The fact that he teamed up with that lunatic Shanahan, the Google gal, lunatic. This is ridiculous. You're not serious about this. Where's Shmuley Boteach? Remember him? Remember they were like this? Remember they were together? Remember that? After Israel, he realized, oh, God, come on, Bobby. Hey, BB's in town. Why don't you go talk to him? Oh, no. BB showed up in Washington. It's like a crickets. Anybody here? Nobody's here. Did they know I was coming in? Nobody. That tells you everything. Everything. Okay, so this goes to all the people like Ackman and all the big Israeli supporters. What are you going to do about that? Kamala Harris is not going to be there for you. And remember, this is the best part. And I use everything. There's a group of people who you say Israel to these young people, they go berserk. They go berserk. You see, we live in this world where people, you don't know what they say in Europe. You don't care whether you don't know what they say at college campuses, and you don't know what people are saying, believe it or not, regarding what's happening in Palestine. And there are people who are just furious about this. Furious. And it's muted here because the mainstream media, including Fox, everybody else, are absolutely in the bag. They say nothing about it at all, like it doesn't exist. And just like that, all of the protests on campuses have disappeared. All of this talk about anti-Semitism legislation disappeared. And when you say all of a sudden, this is Kamala's Democratic Party. Oh, you want to get now Trump can't say this because Trump himself. Trump is as pro-Israel as you can imagine, especially through Jared Kushner, who wants to make Gaza what, oceanfront property? I said George Strait zone. But if there were groups to remind young people, oh, by the way, you like her, huh? This is your gal, huh? Yeah. You see this? Show a picture. This is Gaza. Those are 2,000-pound bombs. You know where they came from? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. How do you like that? You see this here? You see this rubble? You know who's responsible for that? Kamala Harris's Democratic Party. What's Kamala Harris going to do? Force her out. Force her. Stand your ground. If you're with Israel, say it. If you're with the Palestinians, because it's either or. You can't do this thing about, well, I'm into this ceasefire. What does that mean? Ceasefire. You want the Palestinians to cease fire? What are you talking about? Do these people that are pulling out of rubble, do they look like they're firing? What do you mean ceasefire? What's this? What's going on here? Force her hand. What do you think about this? And there are groups that should already, I hope, they're already in place. And there are people that, believe it or not, you're going to have weird allegiances. Remember, the rules have changed. You're going to have people, Trump's or Republicans, meeting people and says, now listen, we don't agree with anything. You know it and I know it. But there's one thing with me. If you want with Trump will tell you, this is what I believe in. So here's the deal, lefties, young people. Do you want Trump, who you can believe him, or do you want these lying prevaricators who kind of shake their fist? Do you want Anthony Brother Blinken? Do you know what this is about? Force her hand on Israel. And don't think for a moment that there aren't going to be protests. And when you insulted Bibi, the same way Bibi insulted Obama, remember, this bad blood, this is so deep. Don't think for a moment that Bibi says there's going to be protests. Oh, yeah, because we want you to see, we will make sure that there are protesters at the Chicago Convention calling you out. Where do you stand? And I would go so far as to ask Kamala Harris, what is your position on the term genocide? Now, I've told you this before. This is a word that is really, this is serious. It may be misapplied. War crimes might be more appropriate. Either way, because of the ICC and the ICJ and other international statutory provisions, apartheid, ethnic cleansing, these are terms which Americans do not want to get around with, but the rest of the world is most comfortable with. Force her hand. What do you say? Go ahead. Do some laughing. Go ahead. Tap dance around this one. Pretend you didn't hear the question. Go ahead. There's nobody around you. Answer the question. Don't give me that unhinged by the past and this. No, explain this. Explain to your left. Okay, listen, young people. Here she is. Say it. Say it, Kamala. Do you believe this is genocide? Yes or no? Answer your young people. They say it is. What do you say? What do you say? What are you going to say to your fellow Democrats who are going to say, wait a minute, we have to go back into our districts. We can't do this. Force her hand. Trump has been consistent. Trump doesn't vary and veer. I'm telling you, force her hand. This is being given to you. You want to play, you're not playing dirty. You're asking her, what do you think about this? And then ask her, what do you think about Ukraine? What about this money? Madam Vice President, or soon to be Madam President, let me ask you, what happens if somebody violates the Monroe Doctrine? What happens if all of a sudden China decides to put up a military base in Tijuana? Not Tijuana, Tijuana. What are you going to do? You better fight back, right? That's exactly what NATO did to Russia. It's exactly what they did. How can you look at Vladimir Putin and say he has no territorial claim to this? What's your position on this? What's your position? Are you what? Are you some lackey for Victoria Nuland? For the military-industrial complex? For these neocons? Institute for the Study of War? For the Kagan? Is that what you are? Is that what you is? Whose side are you on here? Are you for committing American troops? Would you want an American soldier to die in Finland because of some Article 5 NATO thing? Force her hand. Don't sit by and put up a reel that has her dancing and think that somehow this is going to convey. You've got all the information there. And Mr. President, this is up to you. You can do this. Force her. Challenge her. Every single day. Answer her. Make her answer this question. That's where she will collapse. Ask her. Ask about. Start off with Israel. This is an ally. Is Israel an ally or not? Would you have done this to Macron? Would you have done this to Maloney? No. So what message are you sending? Force her hand. This is where we need to go. Not, and I'm sorry to keep saying this, not Typhoid or whatever his name is, or Judge Janine making some joke about Kamala. This is serious. But the thing is, they realize, look, we're not in this we're here for entertainment. We're not here to provide news. We're not here for deep analysis. We're not doing any of this. There's no game. They don't have a bench. We don't have a bench. We're here we live day by day. We run the Republican Party or whatever, like we run Fox News. They determine it. We follow. We see what Kamala says. If Kamala says something stupid, that's what we're going to do. Joe puts out a whatever, we comment on that. Oh, what happened to Hunter Biden? Is that it? Remember the laptop from hell. Remember that? Miranda Devine, the laptop, we got it. What happened to the laptop from hell? Oh, yeah, that's right. It went away. It's boring. Nobody cares about that. What are you going to do? What are you going to do for us? They have no earthly idea. You want to get serious about this? If you do, stick with me. If you don't, you know where to go. You can sit around these other people, and they're great. They're fun. They could talk about how they think that Joe Biden's dead, and they have no reason for this. Gets a lot of clicks, but they have no basis for this. They just say stuff. This is a palace coup. Oh, is that your new word for the week? Is that like bruh? Is that your new literally? You know, when the young folks get into something like literal and like, remember when like was big? Like. Like, I was so like, and you were like, we were like, hilarious. Remember when hilarious was big? That's hilarious. And that's amazing. Amazing. They get on a word. They get on something. That's all it is. They get on something. They get on a click. They get on a phrase. They just get stuck on something. They have no clue as to what's going on. None. They know nothing about history. They know nothing about politics. They know nothing about what do we do. And people are saying, well, Kamala's got it. Okay, how is she doing in swing states? What are the numbers? What? I mean, it's interesting that Hollywood's okay, that's good. What are the numbers? What is the polling? What do the internals say? What's the strategy? What's going to happen? It's like they drive by looking at the road in front of them. They don't even look. They don't look behind them. They don't look to the left. They have no idea of how this works. They just work incrementally. And what they do is Political commentary is run by metrics. If that 5 o'clock segment did great running the spools and reels of Kamala dancing, that's what we're going to do. If that's what gets the numbers, that's what we do. Because what did they care about? And the race, Fox News was number one with 5 million. 5 million? 5 million? You know how many people get 5 million votes? Are you kidding me? 5 million is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And who's watching it? The people that don't care. The people who are going to vote anyway. Who makes the difference? Nobody's ever really caught on to this. They still don't know how opinion is motivated. But you know, and you're smart, okay? You know this, and that's why you're here. You got what I'm saying? So YouTube, great questions. Ryan, thank you. Too Legit, Crimson, Lisa, OA, Deb Kemp, thank you. And Dysfunctional, Pilgrim Media, and Warren Ocasio, thank you for being new members as well. Let me tell you something. I want to remind you, I'm in it to win this thing. I'm not fooling around. This isn't a joke to me. This is serious. When I see people wait, you've got Kamala Harris as your candidate. She's going to be tough and something. But if you can't go after her, if you don't know how to play this, and if you think, Mr. President, with all due respect, it's going to be a bunch of rallies, and you and J.D. Vance are going to do rallies inside or outside. I hope you do them inside. But if you think that's it, if you think that, did you hear this yesterday? Did you watch this, Cheadle? Would you leave, please? Would you please leave? Or I'm gonna issue articles of impeachment. Ooh, yeah, okay. This is incredible. They told Cheeto, don't you even think about leaving. Why? Because that distracts him. We're not going to get anybody else. Who was it? Wasn't the did I hear correctly where the Secret Service director under Reagan or he quit? Said, I let everybody down. Our good buddy Charlie Calais says, it's time to be aggressive. Keep her head spinning. Too early for numbers. I checked. What's out says Trump +5. Yeah, but those are, thank you, Charlie. But those are like, Quinnipiac numbers and whatever. Teresa says, we are Lionel Nation. We are Americans. You better believe it. I'm in this to win. I'm not here to be nice. I'm not in here to be nice with people and, oh, that's great. No. I'm not here to give you crazy, I don't want to call them conspiracy theories, but I'm not here. That's not it. The real stuff is what I think is happening, but unfortunately, I can't confirm it. But I think I know what's going on. And the first thing to tell you is that this has been a long time. And is it a coup? It's not really a coup because you have somebody who is severely ill. It would be a coup if Biden wasn't sick. But he's not sick enough for 25th Amendment purposes, okay? Go back and look at the legislative intent. Look at what were they after? When they say unable to handle, well, what happens? Let's say Bobby Kennedy takes the office, and Bobby Kennedy is an ex-drug addict, and maybe he has a little bit of a setback. Is Bobby Kennedy unable? I just watched an opinion that running Kamala makes it more believable so the leftists can cheat again and it be plausible. This, couple of things here. Too big to rig may not apply here. What I'm afraid of is that there are going to be hundreds of thousands of new voters, newly minted voters who want to be a part of this movement, legitimate voters, and also illegals who now, by virtue of executive order or new legislation, are allowed to vote for the first time. There may be no need to cheat for anything. No more Dinesh D'Souza, getting rid of the ballots or no Dominion. But no. They're going to say, count the ballots. Think about this. React. All right, friends. See you later on. Have a great and a glorious day. I love yous. Don't forget, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Go right now. Lynn's Warriors. So much great stuff. We'll see you later. And also stay tuned because I may pop up in the middle of the day. I may just say, you know what? I just want to say something. So subscribe to Lionel Nation and make sure you hit that little bell that you like it and that you also are notified of new streams and the like. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. And remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.